Hello, interwebs. It is still Saturday, September 24th, 2017. I made a video this morning. Sports news, go watch it. Yeah, all 29 of you who watch my videos. If you are one of the 29, that'd be nice if you went and told other people. Bump that number up, maybe. That'd be cool. You can do what you want. It's the United States of America. Anyways, I'm just going to recap Big 12 weekend. Just gonna go in order again. Just gonna look at the results, look at some numbers, just talk about it in general. So I really thought that I would come in here talking about a few blowouts and then the obvious, but I was wrong in every way, shape, or form. Well, I guess in a sense, not really for the Kansas game. So West Virginia, Kansas. Kansas actually stuck in there for a while. They were down 35-3 at some point, or nope, just kidding. Sorry, Kansas. They're down 35-10 at some point, and then they ended up clawing their way back in. They were down 35-27, so they were actually in the game. They had the ball when they were down by 8, but they just couldn't do anything after that on the offensive end. And then West Virginia just pulled away, won 56-34. So Kansas, even though they still got beat by 22 points, I think that's a sign of improvement for them. It was at home, yes, but that they can score 34 points, that definitely shows something. So I think that's, even though it's a loss, it's a confidence builder for Kansas. But West Virginia, they definitely got a scare out of being within 8 points of Kansas at some point. So yeah. Next game. Texas Tech Houston was actually, I watched that game. It was a pretty good game. Tech, I didn't think that they were going to win because I just didn't think they had enough defense. I mean, I knew their offense would be able to score, but final was Texas Tech 27, Houston 24. Snapped Houston's 16-game home winning streak. But it was a pretty slow start to the game, obviously, for both offenses. It was only 6-0 at the end of the first quarter. Tech was up. And they were field goals. They weren't even touchdowns. And then Tech was finally able to cash in a touchdown at the beginning of the second quarter. And then halftime was 13-10. Not the beginning. Midway, a little over midway through the third quarter. 4.5 minutes left. There was just horrible coverage in Houston's defense, and it left a man wide open. They were able to get an easy touchdown. Let me look at the numbers. And then they were able to pull away 27-10, and then Houston clawed back in, but couldn't really finish anything. So Tech, Shimanek threw 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, 29-45. So they still rely on their pass heavily because they had the last year with Mahomes. Mahomes absolutely just dropped 45 on everyone pretty much. He threw so many passes. He threw like 80 passes in a game or something against Oklahoma last year. It was insane. Shimanek's pretty good. Stockton got 10 rushes for 102 yards, which is pretty good. Because Tech last year, out of what I saw, they didn't have much of a rushing offense. They heavily relied on that air raid, on Mahomes and the receivers. But this year, I think they're going to be able to be more spread out with their offense out of what I saw. But, it might have just been that. I mean, Houston's got a decent defense, so I think that's definitely a sign for Tech that, yeah. TCU, Oklahoma State. I thought Oklahoma State could win this, but TCU really surprised me. They played really well, obviously. Kenny Hill, 228 yards, a touchdown interception. Anderson, I don't know what his first name is. I'm looking that up right now. Darius Anderson, he went off. I mean, 26 rushes, 160 yards. I mean, 6.2 rushes, or average rush on 26 runs. That's pretty good. And he had 3 touchdowns. He also had 4 receptions, 41 yards. I mean, he just went off on Oklahoma State's defense. Oklahoma State's offense, I said 31, so I got at least part of it right, I guess. Rudolph threw 398 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions, which definitely hurt the team. Hill didn't do much, 25 carries, 102 yards. They had 2 receivers over 100 yards, so the offense did fine, but it's just the defense. They allowed 44 points, so Um, Oklahoma State, they're not out of it, but this definitely hurts their chances. If Oklahoma State wants to make it, their defense is going to have to improve big time. Their offense is going to have to score when it counts because they were down 31-37 and they weren't able to do anything. And they had the ball. So their offense is obviously going to have to cash in at big times late in the race. And then their defense just has to hold. I mean, they can't let one guy go off for 160 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, obviously Oklahoma State, if they want to have a chance at the Big 12 championship, they got to be able to win these games, especially when it's at home. But that's definitely big. TCU is definitely a contender now for the Big 12. Oklahoma Baylor. This was the most stunning game of the weekend. Oklahoma, everyone, even me, watched my preview video. I said 52-7 or something. Oklahoma. I was like, oh, Baylor's trash. They're not gonna score double digits. I mean, they're horrible. But after the first quarter, it was 21-7. I was like, okay, it's over. There's no way that Baylor can stay in. This is 21-7 already, and they just allowed a 99-yard touchdown run. I mean, they allowed one guy to run 99 yards on the first play of the drive, or second play of the drive. That's a little insane. So, I mean, and then they ended up pulling in. They were only down 28-17 at half, and I like at halftime I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, you scored 10 points on UTSA the whole game, and then you score 17 in the first half against Oklahoma. I don't know if Oklahoma's defense is really bad, or if your offense just decided to show up. Obviously, they had a new Solomon against UTSA. Now they have Zach Smith. I think Zach Smith is much better. And after this game, he's definitely going to stay the starter. But, yeah. So, just going through the game, it was close, and then they scored really quickly into the second half. They scored like a minute into the second half. And so, they went for 2, got it. They were down by 3. They later got a field goal, and then they got another field goal. So, they were leading. Baylor was beating Oklahoma, and they had a lot of momentum. I watched a lot of the first half and part of the second half, and they really, like, this team was pumped. They had the lead. They're like, we're already 0-3. We don't have anything we can make except a bowl. I mean, let's just go and maybe ruin this team's playoff chance, or conference championship chance. But Baylor, like, they looked good, honestly, and just Oklahoma looked horrible. And so they were able to really stay in the game, look good. But then Oklahoma, they scored 1 touchdown, and that's when they kind of killed Baylor's momentum, and they were just able to pull ahead 49-31. Then Baylor scored a field goal, and then they got the ball back, scored a touchdown, got the extra point. They actually did get the onside kick with about a minute left, and they didn't do anything. Zach Smith got sacked, but he fumbled in the process. Oklahoma recovered, and that finished the game off. So that should definitely be a wake-up call for Oklahoma that they almost lost to Baylor, considering Baylor lost to Liberty and UTSA. So, yeah, that's horrible for Oklahoma. They definitely need to step it up. Baylor, that's a confidence boost for them, I guess, but they still lost, which is a little heartbreaking for them. But I think they'll be able to recover. Well, not Oklahoma will be able to recover. That's what I meant. And Baylor, they look like they might be able to beat Kansas now. Maybe get a win. Maybe, I don't know. Depends on how they do the rest of the season.